A championship. A celebration in Brooklyn. For Michael Ramsey, it's a long way both geographically and physically from where he was 4 years ago. Growing up in sunny Orange County, California, Ramsey has no problem saying things were easy.
It wasn't real.
Already excelling on the soccer field, Ramsey was a goalkeeper with a Division I college career well within reach. But on November 19th, 2011, everything changed.
I was running in the dark with my friends, and I didn't see a high-waisted chain that was there, and I ended up hitting the chain, and I hit my head on a curb that was on the left side of my body. I was kind of in and out of consciousness at this point. They wheeled me into the ambulance, and then I remember them closing the doors, and I woke up 8 days later.
Those 8 days spent in an induced hypothermic coma.
They thought that I was going to be paralyzed on the right side of my body. They didn't think I was ever going to be able to speak again or swallow or really be a normal human being ever again.
He wasn't really responding very much to command, so it was clear that something was going on.
But quickly, Ramsey surprised his doctors.
The moment that my surgeon came in to talk to me, he told me, you're a miracle. I've never seen anything like this.
Without much of the left side of his skull, which was removed to make room for his swollen brain, Ramsey continued making dramatic progress. After 2 weeks of rehab, he was discharged. Almost a month after that, Ramsey returned to the hospital for surgery to reattach that part of his skull. His final surgery, he thought.
I thought I was at the finishing line at that point. Everybody thought I was. Everybody was celebrating. The nurses were celebrating. Everybody was happy that it was some, miracle. 10 hours after that surgery on January 5th, I had a massive hemorrhage right in my speech center. So that really set me back to before. I was worse than I was waking up, by far.
This time, Ramsey was paralyzed.
And I woke up the next day and I didn't know what happened.
5 brain surgeries in the span of 8 weeks. Doctors stabilized Ramsey, but once again, the prognosis wasn't good. Suffering from aphasia, Ramsey could understand what people said to him and use his brain to think of a response, but he couldn't speak, at least not in English.
Funny thing was that I could speak Spanish correctly. I was taking Spanish class and I couldn't speak my primary language, but I guess secondary language is in some different part of your brain. Continuing
his soccer career seemed like a pipe dream.
I'm not somebody to allow somebody to set my own standards.
It took 6 months of speech therapy for Ramsey to get back his full vocabulary. Next was getting back on the field. That took much longer. In July of 2012, 9 months after his initial fall, Ramsey started no-contact soccer drills. A month later, he was cleared by doctors for contact, but he was just not ready for it. Ramsey never thought about quitting, but says he didn't think he'd be good enough to play at a high level anymore.
I was terrified to get back into the cold.
Wearing a specially designed helmet, Ramsey's club team saved a spot for his return, but it took months for him to get comfortable on the field.
Do you really want to keep doing this? And do you really want to keep battling with yourself? And is it worth it? And then I thought, it is worth it. And so I kind of just stopped thinking, and I went out there and started playing.
By the fall of 2012, Ramsey was back on track. LIU Brooklyn was in contact, interested in bringing him across the country to play soccer, and that idea intrigued him. Over the next year, he got back his prior form, and on Halloween of 2013, nearly 2 years after his initial fall, he committed to LIU Brooklyn, accepting a scholarship.
Michael never stops in terms of his own effort. He's the best example of a guy that will give everything for his team and for himself to improve.
After his college soccer career ends, it's not surprising how Ramsey plans to make a living.
I want to be a neurosurgeon, actually. After I had that hemorrhage, I just felt like I had this calling, to be a neurosurgeon. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Ramsey says because of his own past, he wants to help kids who face similarly long odds, showing them that miracles happen.
A kid can have 30 needles in him and, half a head, and he can come back and look normal. And so it's hard to picture. And so I kind of, paint that picture for them and say, this is what I was and this is what I am now. It's possible to be okay.
It's even possible to become a champion. For News 12 Overtime, I'm Dan Serafin.